Rest in peace, Xbox 360 store. When Microsoft announced they would be shutting down the 360 storefront, I made a mad dash to download as many of the 360 titles I owned onto my 360, and I was not able to get all of them because some titles would not let me download them to the 360 because of reasons. But one title caught my eye that I have not played in a while: Shadow Complex. It was a little indie title that received a bit of help from some big names at the time, like Cliff Bleszinski, the man behind the Gears of War series. Well, at least originally. I had no idea he consulted on the title. Shadow Complex was developed by Chair Entertainment Group and released as an Xbox Arcade exclusively on the 360 after it was acquired by Epic Games in 2008. They also had the rights to Ender's Game, with plans to release it as a video game, and was later cancelled. Then it partnered with J.J. Abrams to make a game with his company Bad Robot, but was also cancelled. After 2016, there seems to be no activity, with one of the founders, Donald Mustard, becoming the worldwide creative director for Epic Games. It appears to be just another asset owned by another company. What exactly is Shadow Complex? By the title of the video, it is a Metroidvania, set more or less in a contemporary mid to late 2000s. It has 2.5D elements and some turd events that change the point of view of the main protagonist's perspective, with some light stealth elements. It uses some of the same tropes established by the Metroid games, like finding equipment needed to progress through the game and going back to previous areas to find upgrades for equipment found throughout the game. It does stick out in one way from Metroid. Well, sort of. Typically, Samus loses her armor at the beginning of the game and rebuilds the suit as you go through the game. Shadow Complex sort of does this. You start out as Colonel Sam Dallas, or at least I think he says that. It's kind of hard to tell. He arrives in a fancy suit, landing next to an armed man, and tells him to stand down. And before he has a chance to even think about it, the colonel caves in his chest. I don't know about other people, but when you tell someone to stand down in fiction, they tend to be on your side. So let this bit of dialogue be an example of what's to come. You take control of the colonel and kill the other men attacking the vice president. Afterwards, the suit shuts down and the vice president is killed, with a sinister voice coming through the radio mocking the colonel. So instead of the main protagonist losing their abilities, they have a different character show off what's to come, and you stop playing that character instead of taking damage and losing all of your abilities. The game then transitions to the West Coast, where you take control of Jason, going out on a hike slash spelunking with a woman he just met. He's wearing clothes straight out of the mid 2000s, with two shirts, with part of the outer shirt tucked in front and loose in the back, cargo pants that are sort of baggy, and a large belt buckle. And let's not forget the large wristband. Not exactly what I would consider clothes for outdoor activity. I might also add going on a date with a person you just met to out in the middle of nowhere is probably not a good idea. I'm just going to play a short little clip here.
It's a good thing you got those baby blues, cutie. All right, follow me down in 20. Don't worry, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, says the girl who explored this cave as a kid.
You'll be fine.
One thing you might have noticed in that clip I played, it is one of those moments when you stop and think to yourself, I know that voice slash actor. Jason is played by Nolan North, who has been in a bunch of media, but I know him from the Uncharted series as Nathan Drake. After Claire says to follow after 20, I guess, seconds, you gain control of Jason and just drop down 20 feet into a hole with no means of getting out looking for Claire. This is where they introduce your first piece of equipment, the flashlight. It actually has its uses, with plenty of dark places where it is needed, but it also serves another function. If you shine the light on parts of the surrounding area, it will highlight objects that can be broken, and with what piece of equipment. It is very much like the scanner from Metroid, just more fluid. Jason finds Claire's backpack and is now able to climb surfaces. This leads him to a door that is in the cave. He drops down below a hatch in front of the door, and two masked men drag Claire through the door. Jason then decides to go after them. The door opens up now that the two men have passed through. So, with a serious lack of security, Jason just waltzes into the facility. Here, they show a safe room where the game is automatically saved every time you go into one, as well as replenish some health and ammo. He also comes across a console that reveals a map. With the map comes a bit of gameplay I have mixed feelings about, at least in regards to Metroidvanias. It will tell you where to go in order to progress through the game, with a line showing you a path and final destination. This is nothing new by the time this game came out, but part of playing a Metroidvania is figuring out how to get there, but also collecting equipment upgrades along the way. By having the path shown to you, it takes away from the exploration aspect of the game, but it does take away the aspect of where do I need to go instead of getting lost. I can see why they decided to do that after playing Metroid Zero Mission, where it sort of tells you where to go, but I kind of messed with the system by using bombs to get to a place where I should not have without a piece of equipment. Depending on your point of view, the hand holding can be appreciated, or you could find it annoying that they took away from the challenge. I have no idea if this changes on harder difficulties, but I figured most people would be like me and play on normal and then maybe play the game once in a blue moon. After Jason goes to the first spot indicated on the map, he gets to a security room where he sees Claire being tortured and interrogated. This leads to a flashback of him talking with his father and his unwillingness to kill people. His father says he would find a good reason someday, with the flashback ending and Jason saying his dad was right. Personally, saving a person who you just met from an organization that clearly has the resources to make a very large subterranean base out in the middle of nowhere would not be the thing that gets me to put my life on the line. But it's good enough for Jason as he grabs a pistol off the security desk. I kind of skipped shooting during the prologue, so when it comes to this game, enemies can be in the background, and through my playthrough once in the foreground. Jason aims his weapon using a laser sight, allowing you to aim at different parts of the NPCs and surrounding area. Part of this is aiming at targets in the background. This has its issues. The game does some more hand-holding and helps the player aim down the background, but at times it dictates what targets you aim at. Sometimes there are targets I would rather prioritize over others, but Jason will aim at whatever the game tells him to. One neat thing about the game is you can use objects in the surrounding terrain to kill the NPCs. Hanging electric cords can be shot and electrocute NPCs. The little turrets can be turned against them by destroying them, conveniently place explosive barrels, and some vents that can result in jets of fire from grenades going off in them. It can lead to some tactical choices, particularly at the beginning of the game. Then there are the stealth and melee elements. If you sneak up on an NPC, you can take them out without warning others that you're in the area. Or, if you get close enough, you can melee an NPC. Either way, you get a short animation when Jason does either action. It gets amusing later when Jason gets the suit, and combined with the physics, you can send NPCs flying. Lastly, there is the equipment. I already mentioned the flashlight and a pistol, but as you progress through the game, the guns keep getting upgraded with a more powerful gun. Then there is the foam. It can be used to trap enemies or make temporary ledges to jump onto. There are also grenades that are mainly used to take out bosses early in the game, but can also be used when enemies do group together or hide behind cover. Then there are rockets. It makes stuff blow up like the grenades, just faster and better. Now, the suit has different upgrades as well. The inertial dampener allows Jason to run fast, like the speed boost in Metroid. I should say Super Metroid. A mask that allows Jason to dive without running out of air. A rocket pack for higher jumps and later triple jumps. And an item called the hook shot that allows Jason to hang on walls and from the ceiling.
I'm dead weight. Forget it.
Forget it. Screw that.
Jason, listen. You gotta find something so that we can leave together. A jeep, a tank, anything. Stash me behind those cabinets. I'll be fine.
Stash you behind That's crazy.
That's why it's perfect. The guy's lying here, dead. This is the last place they'd search. Who'd be crazy enough to hang around here?
I just wish I knew what was going on here.
You know, I heard them say something about the big push. It's happening today. We fell into the middle of something big, Jason.
This is ridiculous. Do we look like NSA?
What does?
At times. Or most of the time. Like Claire telling him to find a jeep or something to get her out. Then having Jason put her behind the cabinets to hide, but he just leaves her in front of them. Not to mention, none of the terrain would even allow him to get a jeep. His solution once he finds the suit is to use it to get Claire out, which he does and takes her back to the jeep they came in on. Thankfully, there's no escorting her there. Along the way, to get the other parts of the suit, Jason finds out the Progressive Restoration, the name of the organization, has a factory making weapons and a secret weapon in the lake.
I'm in some kind of factory. These guys are rolling out enough ordnance to invade a small country. Maybe even a big one.
Maybe even ours.
They have a plan to liberate the country, starting with New York and San Francisco. Jason sabotages the factory and stays behind after getting Claire out to stop them. This leads to the final encounter with the Flying Fortress, where Jason launches some conveniently placed missiles at the ship located in the lake the ship came out of. So I will be honest here, if you collect all the upgrades for the missiles, grenades, and foam, you get an infinite amount of each, making any fight after that really easy. Also, if you collect all the gold bars, you get a gold skin for the guns you use. It's kind of a lost art to do something like this in modern gaming. Even when they do, I have finished the game and have no reason to go back and use them. At least here, I can finish the game with the rewards. So after destroying the Flying Fortress with the missiles, the leader of the Restoration shows up and starts threatening Jason. Claire then shoots him in the head, and it turns out she was NSA all along, and she tricked him into coming to the caves, fully well knowing they were there, so that he would stop them. I think it's clear that the game is heavily influenced by Super Metroid, and it shows. The flashlight functions like the scanner. Although there is no morph ball, the very large air ducts allow Jason to get around the facility. I would say the aiming is sort of fluid, but slows down if you are trying to be precise when aiming. The auto aim when it comes to what you are targeting is a bit too hand-holdy at times. And the map can be useful when you are stuck, but it does not tell you how to traverse the path. It just shows you the way. The story is very simple and the game is short unless you want to go for a full completion. There was DLC that I never knew about, so I can't talk about it since I never bought it or played it. I could buy the remastered version on Steam, but I think I am fine with the 360 version for now. The game was enjoyable with my playthrough lasting about 8 hours. I would have to say it is worth playing, although I would wait for a discount mainly due to the short playtime. At one point, the remastered version was put out for free back in 2016 in order to promote the game and build hype for a sequel. Considering how long it's been, I guess it did not work. If you made it this far into the video, thanks for watching.